Ciao, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Riveting Trips with Jeanie Colclough. I'm your host, Jeanie Colclough. And on this podcast, we talk to my friends and colleagues around the world about family-friendly, multi-gen travel and with a little bit of a twist of luxuries. Everything that's kind of bespoke and nothing off the rack. On today's episode, I have my friend Lisa Zennaro from Target Travel, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. And then we'll talk today about fun, friendly activities for kids that you may not have thought of when visiting Italy. Ciao, Lisa.
Hi, ciao Jenny. Hi everybody. So I'm Lisa Zennaro, and as Jenny told, I'm from Venice, Italy. So the city on the water, located in the northeast part of Italy. And Jenny, thank you very much for this opportunity to
Ah,
to join your
grazie.
broadcast. Grazie. So I took my first flight going to Côte d'Azur when I was 12 years old, so many years ago. Immediately my eyes were open to the traveling and to the tourism. So immediately understood that I had to stay in this topic. So when I was 11 years old, I started to study tourism in the high school. And as in Italy, we can have some more particular school starting from college. So when I was 13, I started to learn all the languages, English, French, German. Uh, of course, I also speak, I'm an Italian mother tongue, but I speak three languages, also a little bit of Spanish. So let's
Mm.
say four languages. And uh, when I end my studies, I also lived abroad. I lived in Europe. I lived for a while in Germany. Yes, so to improve my German. So actually, my first focus when I was in the school was improve my knowledge about the languages. And while after my degree at the University of Padua, I left Italy to go to Australia. And so I spent there a few months where, of course, I improved my English, and uh, I really start to work also there in the tourism. I studied cultural tourism in the university, and this let me develop my knowledge about art, archaeology, but in the same time, I start to increase my knowledge to all Italy and
Right.
also Europe, of course. And these are two of my passion, art and
You're
archaeology.
so lucky. Italy's the perfect place for that, right?
Yes. Yes. In every town you go in Italy, any village or any huge city, you will find a lot of sites that can be Byzantine, medieval, Roman,
Right.
also in the south of Italy, the Greek influence that we had, for example, in Sicily or Calabria in the Magna Grecia. And so, yes, Italy is a huge treasure for art and
It's perfect. It's
archaeology.
a treasure hunt, right? And thinking of like treasure hunts, you mentioned that there are labyrinths and places, fun places like that for maybe young children. Could you explain something more about those places and where they are?
Yeah, yes. So Italy is very popular. There are a lot of wonderful cities, but there are also a lot of small towns and small villages that offer this particular and original uh, places to visit. And the labyrinths that are located in the big ancient villas, like Palladian villas, are very popular between Italian. So
Really?
they are not,
Okay.
yes,
Not
because
just, yeah.
so some during maybe spring when it's not too warm, too hot, we are used to have a walk in the garden of these villas. And so it's great to be able to tell you in this podcast to let you know some of these labyrinths that are in this ancient villa. Uh, one of that is in Venice, in the
Really?
island of San Giorgio Maggiore.
Oh, that's a
Yes.
beautiful one. That's the one with the church that you can oversee and look the across the Grand Canal,
Exactly.
correct? Okay.
Exactly. If you have the St. Mark's Square
Right.
on your back and you look in front of you, a little bit on the left, you will see the San Giorgio Island. And there is this wonderful labyrinth. Of course, there
Okay.
is a possibility to visit the church, but having some fun in this labyrinth is wonderful. Another wonderful, because all of those five labyrinths are in our region, in
Right.
Veneto, so very
Oh,
close to us.
lucky you.
Exactly. Another one that is in a Palladian villa, so
Okay.
it's located along the Brenta River, is the labyrinth of Villa Pisani.
Okay.
So when you enter this how can I say, this mansion because it's really huge. You can visit this villa with wonderful frescoes. And when you go in the garden that are really beautiful with fountains, you can also visit this labyrinth. And there is a very funny story about this labyrinth that villa in the ancient time there was a traditional game where the protagonist was a lady and a
Hmm.
knight, and so the lady waited in the middle of this tower that is in the
Okay.
middle of the labyrinth, um, and so these knights were
Yeah.
doing the the
Like
way of the labyrinth. They
right.
will arrive at the tower, they will reach the
Oh, the
lady
lady.
exactly, to receive a kiss or a
Okay.
prize or something because
Uh,
they won. But it's a very funny thing. Sometimes the lady would take off their hat, this particular thing that was covering
the
her.
mask. Kind of like a mask.
Exactly. And so the knight discovered that was not maybe a lady because it was funny and they hide
Oh
another man.
no.
Yes, and this was because to for the hilarity of the audience. So in the past there were all these
Right.
funny things. Another wonderful garden located after the city of Padova, so in the Euganian Hill in that area, is the Barbarigo Garden. As well, this garden is in there is an ancient villa that can be
Okay.
visited, and then there is this huge labyrinth of more than 6,000 boxwood plants. Uh,
Wow.
it's
Okay,
huge.
so that would take kids a little bit of time to go through
Exactly.
that. Keep them kids busy.
Yeah, there are also some fountains where there are, because I was there last summer,
Okay.
a lot of turtles, a lot of
Oh,
fishes, a lot of ducks. So,
that's
you are
cute.
walking around and there are a lot of kids, flowers. If you go during spring, of course, there are a lot of flowers. And of course, it's this um, this garden is very, very long.
Okay.
It extends for quite almost a kilometer and a half, if I
Okay.
remember well. And it's wonderful because when you are in this kind of villa, uh, you can think as you were
In the
in the
old
past,
days,
in the
in the
ancient
past, yeah.
time. And it's wonderful also for the kids because, of course, they can, walk around. They say, "Oh, I can imagine the nights here, walking with a lady." Um, it's
That's so
wonderful.
that is awesome. I think kids appreciate I think history comes alive. History is not in a textbook, right? It's best
Exactly.
to be experienced. So when they can kind of see, okay, this is, we've taken our kids to 20 plus countries, right? And every time we travel, they might complain in the beginning, and after a couple of days, after the jet lag's worn off, then they really immerse themselves and they go, wow, people used to really live like this, or people still do live like this, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a big lesson. You make your kids become kind of global citizens because they do experience how other people are, and that at the end of the day, we're more similar than we are different, I think. So I
Yes.
think this is an amazing place. What are some other activities you would recommend? Or are there other labyrinths or other activities for children?
So if we want to remain in our region, so in Veneto, there are a lot of wonderful things that we can do with our family. For example, do you know that in Venice, so there are several islands,
Right.
and there is an island where there is vineyards.
Okay, what's that island called?
This island is called Mazzorbo. Is
Mazzorbo.
near.
Okay.
It's one of the most north island
Islands.
in
And
the
how
north
long does
part
it
of.
take to get there from, let's say, most people staying in Piazza San Marco?
We can say between 45 minutes and 1 hour. It depends
Okay.
a little bit of the
Depends on the
water
water.
condition.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Or
I
maybe.
understand. The water sometimes can be choppy. Yes.
Yes, yeah. But it's really wonderful because, of course, you will go through the canals, so you will see the lagoon landscape. It's
I
very.
think
There is. You can also see the plane.
really. Oh, it's near the
With
airport.
yes, because the airport is on the west side of the lagoon. So when you land in Venice, if you look on your right, you will see the
Okay.
island of Venice, and starting from the south, the south part of the lagoon, Venice, and a little bit
So
of the
that's a
north.
pro tip. If you're flying into Venice, sit on the right side so you see the best views.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Window
Window
seat on the
on
right
the right. Okay.
side.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that. No, I think one of the best memories I have of Venice, obviously it was without kids, but my kids haven't been there yet, is arriving and then getting your private like water taxi, kind of like one of those fancier Rivas, and it
Yeah.
takes you and you just go for like a 30 or 40-minute ride to your hotel and you just the water's kind of like splashing you on the side. So I know this can be kind of pricey, but it's quite a memorable way of getting in instead of just being hoarded onto a vaporetto with like 200 other people.
Of course. So this week we have the Venice Film Festival, the
Right.
popular Venice Film
Okay.
Festival. And
I
I was
saw
in Venice.
online all the movie
Yeah.
stars like
Well,
putting
there
them
was
on
Brad
Instagram.
Pitt, George Clooney, a lot
Exactly.
of them. And I was there last week on Friday, to have a walk. So it's almost 1 hour and a half
Okay.
from my house to reach. So I live in the land, I have a car, do not have any boat at
Yes.
all. But once every year we go there with my friends. Uh, and it was plenty of people. But the magic, so all the times that, by the way, you have when you arrive in Lido or when you arrive in Venice and you take a water taxi,
Hmm.
um, it's always magic.
Yeah.
So all the time, every time I go to Venice and I arrive in the island, I mean, and I look at the palace, I look at the Grand Canal,
Right. That's an
I look
amazing
at the,
view. Yeah, you
oh,
can't
but
replicate that anywhere.
no,
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 that is
I
amazing.
mean, I see this scenario since
Yeah.
40 years and
Yeah.
every time it's magic, every time it's a terrific experience. And
No,
so
it's like when people screenshot me images of Venice, the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, I just say, "Have you been to the real Venice?" I mean, it's so
with
different.
the
With the
gondoliers
there's
rowing.
yeah, it's very it's but I think like if you're on the riding along the Grand Canal and you see all the you know wealthy like palazzi, like just the Cazzarazzonico and a bunch of all those other ones up and down the Grand. It's amazing. It's an amazing view, and you can just sit
Yes,
there and just relax and just take it all in, soak it all in, you
exactly,
know.
exactly. And for the kids it's wonderful because if you do uh, a Grand Canal tour with a water taxi, they can really immerse themselves
Mm,
in the Venice history because you have Palestine on the right. On the left, you can see the seagulls because, of course, there's
yes.
plenty of seagulls. Uh,
A lot of
so it's,
pigeons too.
but can I tell you now there are more seagulls than pigeons?
Really? Why is
Yes,
that?
still a lot of pigeons, but
Yeah.
the seagulls are not so friendly,
Mm.
nor with people, neither with pigeons. I can tell.
Okay. Well, the pigeons are used to the people, right? I think because
Exactly.
if you've been to Venice, you see the vendors always selling the bags of food for the pigeons, so they just come.
Yeah.
I've never met a pigeon less scared of humans than I have been a Venetian pigeon. They just come
Yeah.
up to you and just, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
here.
I have a couple of my parents have a couple of pictures of me when I was like 2 years old during
Uh-huh.
carnival time. I was dressed like a dog, so it was very
Little
small.
kid.
And with the corn for the
Yeah, with
pigeons.
the
And
pigeons.
yeah, totally I'm a big pigeon because I have all the pigeons on me eating the corns. And so but I mean that is Venice. That is
Yes,
Venice.
that is.
So you have to
Yeah.
experience the thing. So it's wonderful when a family arrive and the kids can also experience these things. Also, if now it's not possible anymore to give so much food to the animals
Okay.
because otherwise they will, go into the restaurant, they will jump on the table. So they are
Yes. Yes.
restricting this kind of. But I mean, you still are there, and the pigeons come close to you, and you can take wonderful pictures
No,
in
I
the
think it's a good place. The piazza is fun for the kids. But you mentioned earlier that there's some farming activities or off kind of in the countryside, maybe. Did you want to describe that? And also the vineyards. Go back to the vineyards because we got distracted
Yeah.
on the vineyards.
Yeah, so as I told you, there is this island in the north part of the Venetian lagoon where there are some vineyards. The winery is called Venissa, and
Okay.
they organize as well wine tasting and the visit of the vineyard. So that can be, of course, combined as well with the lunch in their Michelin restaurant.
Okay.
And this activity it's wonderful for the kids, but but for the adults. Of course, the wine tasting
Right.
no is for the adults only. But in this case, the kids can also see a particular thing that is this vineyard in the island. And by the way, we can also organize a treasure hunt in Venice,
Okay.
both in the islands. So if we have like an excursion with a family, we can organize a treasure hunt in the different islands, or just in the city center of Venice, so the kids can go around with
Mm.
this with the guide and
Will
discover
they get lost
Venice.
though? They will get lost.
Exactly. No, that will be our guide with them for sure, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
But the nice thing is to get lost in Venice,
Right.
so you
That is
can
the
see.
beauty of the city. I think the very first time I went there was like t almost 25 years ago, and this is like still the internet's still around, but no Google Maps on your phone. You had to print a paper map, and if you've ever been to Venice when they offered the paper maps, like three-quarters of the streets don't exist on that paper map. So you just
Exactly.
have to like wander around and go, where's this bridge? Where's that person? Where, yeah, so it's an adventure and you just kind of get lost. Or one of my favorite memories is when you see the sign which says Per Rialto and the arrow goes like this, but then you see a sign right under and it goes Per Rialto and then you see another arrow that goes like this. So
Exactly. Yes.
it
Now they
doesn't
they create just one sign
just
with
one sign.
two directions. Yes,
Okay.
only one. So in any case.
So it doesn't matter which way you go, you'll end up there.
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How about
Yes.
on the farm? Can the kids do other activities with the animals or something like that? Is there any
Okay.
kind of
Yeah,
farm?
not in Venice, because in Venice is not
Right.
possible, but in the countryside, that can be also in Veneto, but also in other region like Tuscany,
Mm,
or also in Piedmont, in Emilia-Romagna, that are region very popular also to have cows and
mm,
goats. There are a lot of farm where we call it education farm, because in this kind of farm, the kids can learning and experience the agriculture, the nature, a little bit of farm life. So they can see the cultivation, the vegetables. They can also pick up the
right.
fruits or the veggie with the stuff of the farm, with the farmers, by the way, sorry. And they can also, in some of this farm, they can also do some, for example, cheese making class,
Okay.
or bread making class. And so in Italian, we say mettere le mani in pasta. So put your hands in the
Pasta.
food. What an immersive experience
Yeah,
mean to
that sounds like
uh,
fun.
yes, and for the kids, so it's the non plus ultra to have this kind of activity. They can create their bun and bake the bread,
Right.
or
Well, the parents can also join in, but they can also enjoy their wine or something like that. Yes.
exactly, exactly. So it's wonderful because those kind of activities are uh, they are for the entire family, the
Yeah.
entire
I
family.
think that's why Italy is a great place to visit for a family is because, a lot of places they're resorts that are adults only. But Italy, I feel like children are welcome of all different ages. There's always activities for families because you see families out together, like the Sunday dinner
Yes,
or the Sunday lunch.
exactly.
So that kind of doesn't really exist much here anymore in the US because we all live kind of fragmented lives. But I feel like in Italy, people still go and hang out with the nonna and, go do these activities and are more in touch with just spending time, quality time with your family. And that's what these travel experiences are really about, spending quality time, making sure that you have great memories to remember. You're not going to remember shuttling your kids to all their after school activities, but you'll remember the time when you got picked up by a water taxi, right? And
Yeah.
or went to a farm and made bread or, worked with the locals and or met kids their own age, right? If there's places that kids can meet other kids that are locals, that's also another wonderful activity for them to realize,
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, this is awesome. Kids are here. It's what kids do in this country, right? Or in this
Yes.
city. So, yeah,
For example, in Venice, of course, there's no car in Venice. So
right.
just or you go walking or you go by boat. So no
Yes.
bicycle, nothing.
No, yeah,
Just
yeah. Just, yes.
and there are some area, of course, St. Mark Square is very popular. There are a lot of accommodation, a lot of hotels, but there are not so many local people living there. But if you just move a little bit far from St. Mark's Square. There are some square that are called Campielli or Piazze Square, where there are the Venetian kids playing.
Yes.
So if you have the family of guests, and maybe the kids will arrive in the afternoon together with the parents, and they can also, play together with the
Yes.
local kids. And I mean, uh, for kids, there's no language
Yeah. They just want to
problem.
play, right?
It's
They just want to play.
exactly,
They just want to play together.
exactly.
We
And
see
so
that with
the
our kids too. I think that's an area when we were in Venice last, I stayed closer to where the Biennale is, right? And
oh,
so that one, or if you maybe, I don't know, um Zattere also, that area
mhm.
too, has
Yes,
more
exactly.
families. A little bit
Yes.
further out. It's still within
Ex-
close distance, you can still walk, but it's not smack dab in the middle of like St. Mark's Square. So
Exactly.
yeah, you can see
Exactly.
locals there, I think.
Exactly. But also in Rome, of course, if you are
Mm.
in Rome, you stay in Piazza Navona, it will be very popular. If you
Right.
maybe just move a little bit out of the crowd, uh, out of the beaten path, let's say,
Yeah,
because maybe all the people want to stay in the real city center.
right.
Uh, but if you just go a little bit outside of it, uh, it's priceless because you will experience the real life, the real Italian life.
So what are
Uh,
those neighborhoods you think in Rome now?
Vigneto,
Testaccio,
the start. So yes, they are a little
Testaccio.
bit
Yeah.
not in the real city center.
Yeah. Just but
La-
not far, not far, right?
no,
Not
no,
far at
not at
all,
all. Also
right?
Trastevere, it's popular because there are a lot of restaurants, a lot of
Bars,
bars. But if you are on, I mean, if you look at a Rome map, there is the Tiber
right.
that will, literally cut Rome too. On the left part, there is Trastevere, and maybe there is also the Vatican area. But
Right.
on that side, going a little bit far from Trastevere or Vatican, there are still a lot of wonderful accommodation, but is less crowded compared to the right side, the right part of
Oh
Rome,
yeah, the
where
right
there is
side
the
is very busy, very busy.
yes, yes,
But I went to Rome a few months ago, and it's kind of insane how many new hotels are opening up in Rome, right? There's
in
a
Rome,
lot.
In
Yeah.
Rome, in Florence, in Venice as well. So 2024 and also the next 2 years will be very, very with a lot of new opening.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to that because sometimes you don't have enough hotels to recommend the clients because, like in Paris and London, yes, but in Rome, there a lot of it were smaller. I like the small boutique 5 stars, but
Mhm.
a lot of them were more like, made really like a 3 star that stretches that calls itself a 4 star or
Yeah,
something like
exactly, exactly,
that.
exactly.
So it's good
Yeah,
to have some kind of quality assured when you get there. It doesn't have to be a big
sure.
brand. It could be boutique too, I think.
No, of course, enjoying a boutique hotel, it's more familiar.
Yes.
So you also the great chain are wonderful, nothing to say, but maybe they are more familiar. Maybe you can see the owner
Yeah. I
with the
think what I like
family.
sometimes is when you go to a very nice hotel and they acknowledge the children, right?
Mm.
The front staff, welcome the kids. They don't make the kids feel like they're a burden. When you go down to breakfast, someone in the kitchen or in the breakfast restaurant, talks to your kids on a daily basis. I mean, my kids years ago we went to Geneva and we stayed, I believe, at the Ritz-Carlton, and every
Mhm.
morning there was a woman there. I don't remember her name, but the kids remember her because she talked to them genuinely every single morning,
Of course.
right? And made a connection with them over like only a couple days. And they said bye to her, they hugged her. And I'm like, how come
Yeah.
kids are so nice to these strangers, right? How come they can't be like that at home? So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the service that we're looking for is like the friendly staff, the bespoke
Yes.
touches, and I don't know, it sounds like there's so much to do for kids like beyond, the typical, right? You
Yes.
think of like mazes, you think of going to a farm where adults can taste wine, um, and so much more. But Lisa, I want to thank you for this episode. You have to
You're
come
welcome.
back, right? So
Okay, I will.
if you like this episode, folks, share with your friends and family and make sure you hit subscribe. And once again, my name is Jeanie Colclough. I'm a Condé Nast top travel specialist focusing on multi-gen and family luxury travel. So if you like what you hear, follow. Ciao, ciao, everybody.
Ciao.